Hello and welcome back to another episode of Venro Does Art. Today I am going to discuss similarities and differences between Greek and Roman art. As always, I would like to begin by going over a few things about each society. Traditionally, ancient Greek society is said to begin with the date of the first Olympic Games in 776 BCE, although evidence seems to suggest that the Olympics had existed earlier than that date. However, even if that date held true, it would be faulty to believe that an entire civilization was built overnight. Even so, this date serves as a convenient marker for recounting ancient Greek history. In turn, ancient Greek civilization is said to decline in 338 BCE when King Philip II of Macedon conquers the Greek city-states, and the Hellenistic period begins. Curiously, Romans find their inception from the Greek epic, the Iliad. It is said that the defeated Trojan hero, Aeneas, would later go on to discover Rome, although that is not their only myth pertaining to the founding of Rome. This founding myth, however, did serve to legitimize Emperor Augustus's control over Rome. The other legend refers to that of the twins Romulus and Remus, who fought over the right to rule and name the city. This myth establishes the conventional founding date of 753 BCE. The Roman Empire, as we know it, eventually falls in 476 CE when the last Roman emperor, Romulus Augustus, was deposed, although Roman culture would continue on through what we later coined the Byzantine Empire. Now, onto the actual artwork. In today's video, I will purely be focusing on Greek and Roman sculpture and architecture. Although Greeks and Romans do have their fair share of two-dimensional art, I will not be addressing this aspect of Greek and Roman art in the video because it does not contribute the same amount of weight to Greek and Roman civilization. In this analysis, I will be using Spear-Bearer to represent ancient Greece. Spear-Bearer was made by the Greek sculptor Polykleitos, circa 450 BCE. Head of a Roman patrician will serve as our example for Roman art. Created somewhere between 75 through 50 BCE, the head of a Roman patrician helps us infer a few cultural distinctions between Greek and Roman society. Of course, as per usual, I would like to point out some of their similarities before zeroing in on their differences. Now, it's no secret that the Romans were inspired by the Greeks in many respects. For starters, when we think of the famous Greek sculpture, Spear-Bearer, we automatically recall the Roman replica of the original bronze sculpture. So it should come as no surprise that the Greek and Roman artwork has any similarities. If anything, both cultures were obsessed with perfection. This is evident from the amount of detail from both of the aforementioned sculptures. Yet, where they differ is what sort of perfection they were seeking out. The Greeks pursued absolute perfection, relying less on reality and more on the idea of the perfect man. The Romans, however, were after perfectly replicating the reality before them, relying completely on careful observation and mathematics. In Greek sculpture, you would never find an old man depicted like that of the head of the Roman patrician. Instead, even old decrepit men would sport a body similar to that of Spear-Bearer. Roman sculpture also saw an advancement to the level of detail, clearly demonstrated in the differences between each respective sculpture. Yet, Roman sculpture does not possess the overly exaggerated detail and form that we saw in the sculptures of the Hellenistic period, like that of Laocoon and his sons. Many of these similarities and differences hold true for their architecture as well, but mentioning them does have merit. So what better examples are there than the Parthenon and the Pantheon? The Parthenon was designed by the Greek sculptor Phidias and was completed by 432 BCE. The Pantheon, on the other hand, was completed in 126 CE and was originally commissioned by Marcus Agrippa. Although the facades of the buildings actually look quite similar, there is definitely more than meets the eye. One such difference is the type of column they primarily use. While the Parthenon makes use of the Doric order for the most part, the Pantheon instead opts to use the more decorative Corinthian column. The actual frieze and pediments are not all too different, but the Pantheon hides another secret behind its facade, and that is the oculus. This dome was an architectural advancement that the Romans were at the forefront of, and as such would not be seen in ancient Greece. The Romans had also invented the arch, and this was just a natural extension of that structure. Well, that wraps up my discussion on Greek and Roman art. If you would like to add anything or point out any sort of error, feel free to comment down below. Until next time.